Here we go. Recording in progress.
Great. Well, good morning. I'm Bob Peterson, Deputy Director of the Washington State Housing Finance Commission. I want to welcome you to our third coffee talk for the 2023 Friends of Housing Award-winning person, Gomer Roseman. We recognize Gomer and 8 other individuals and organizations at our Friends of Housing Awards in early October at our Housing Washington in Tacoma. But we wanted to have a more relaxed conversation with the winners and learn from their expertise and passion. So here we are. All right. We are pleased to speak with Gomer Roseman. He's winner of our Unsung Hero Award. Gomer is a 17-year veteran at Tacoma Pierce County Habitat for Humanity. As construction director, he oversaw the creation of 190 new homes and revitalized 20 more, a substantial contribution. Gomer's leadership drove innovation in energy efficient, affordable housing, including Energy Star certified homes and sustainable construction techniques. And we're all about green, so that is a great accomplishment. So Gomer, let's get the first question. How did you join Habitat?
I guess I'll give you the long story if that's okay.
That's okay.
So it was back in about, actually about I want to say 2001. I was working in Sierra Leone and I was doing refugee resettlement with, because there had been a big civil war in Sierra Leone had just ended and there was a huge number of refugees. And I was in the United States for a brief period of time and traveling from Florida to Chicago by road. And I had read an article about Habitat for Humanity and, didn't know a whole lot about it and realized that their headquarters, it was in Americus, Georgia, which was kind of on my route from Florida to Chicago. And for this refugee resettlement program that I was doing in Sierra Leone, I was looking for a housing partner. It was a huge project, and we really needed somebody that could just kind of come alongside and take care of the housing part of it, because there were so many other aspects to resettlement that, there's food security and, job training and clean water and sanitation. And so if we could just get a good partner for housing, that would help us to, make this program more effective. Anyways, I dropped into Americus, Georgia Habitat headquarters unannounced and was able to see some people like almost immediately, and people from their international, and it didn't, they were kind of hesitant. Oh, this isn't the way we usually operate. We like to have an invitation from the government to get involved in something. It's like, okay, well, we'll see. I don't know if I can engineer that, but anyways, while I was there, in Americus, which is no longer the headquarters, it's since moved to Atlanta, but they have a village of all the homes. They like, here's the home that we build in Zimbabwe. Here's the home that we build in Romania. So it's like this international village with homes from Europe, South America, Africa, and it was interesting to walk through, and it really, the day really kind of made an impact on me. And I thought, well, this is interesting. Maybe someday I'll think about Habitat for Humanity as a possibility. So fast forward about 5 years, and I found myself back in the United States. I worked overseas for 13 years. I found myself back in the United States suddenly. My wife and I had been evacuated from South Sudan with the clothes on our back, our laptops, and our passports. And here we were back in America. And that's a long story, but anyways, a few months after that, there was an opening at Habitat in Tacoma. I applied for the job, I got it, and the rest is history. I've been here for over 17 years now.
I think I've known you those whole 17 years, Gomer, and it's a great...
Almost, I would say.
Yep. So as a construction director, you've overseen the construction of these 190 new homes and rehab of 20 more homes, which is something people don't know about. Can you describe a project that stands out in your mind about being impactful and why?
Yeah, I think there's a couple, but I think the one that is really the most impactful is a neighborhood in Lakewood, Washington that we worked in. The neighborhood's known as Tillicum, and it used to be. It's right next to Joint Base Lewis McChord. It's right next to the freeway, and it's been historically it's been a bad neighborhood. Basically, it just hasn't, and the I think the home ownership rate has been the inverse of the national average. I think the national average is around 69% or something like that. And it was 69% rental, 31% home ownership. So it was also really a bad area for crime. And so we started working there and at the invitation of the Lakewood City Council. They came and visited one of our projects, say, hey, this is great. How'd you like to come to Lakewood and do something there? And so, and I'd been aware of Tillicum, and anyhow, long story short, I think we're currently building the 40th through 43rd homes are currently under construction in that neighborhood. And there's more planned. I think a total of 12 more coming. And there's been we started working there in 2013, so 10 years ago. And there's been a palpable difference in that neighborhood. Things have it used to be the kind of neighborhood where you didn't go out at night. And it was kind of, and I will say that the Lakewood Police has also made this neighborhood a kind of a project. And so I think sort of that dual focus of Habitat for Humanity, and we bought up a lot of substandard housing, tore it down and built new homes. And I think it's made a big difference in the neighborhood. You can go out at night. It's safe to go out at night, and people take pride in their homes. There's really a difference. And I wish I had before and after pictures, because that would really tell it. But yeah, I think that stands out to me as probably something that I'm proud of.
Gomer, I grew up in Tillicum, Lakewood area, so I've been to Tillicum a lot. With all that new construction on the freeway, that community is on the upswing, and I'm glad Habitat's there early on. So that's great. And so you work
that. You're from Tillicum?
I grew up in Tillicum and Lakewood, on the border of Tillicum, but living in Lakewood. Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So having gone to Tillicum because of the military community, I've been going through there forever. I won't tell me how many years, but that community has changed dramatically because of the housing you put there. But all the road construction and infrastructure work that's gone in that community. Yeah. I'm glad to have
the city's made it a focus. We were really just part of it, but yeah, it's changed the face of the place.
Great. So as construction director, something Habitat's known for a lot is energy innovation. And affordable home building is so important to have new energy components. Why is sustainability and energy efficiency so important to our Habitat owners?
So, I mean, for me, it just makes sense that affordable housing should be affordable to live in and affordable to maintain as well. I think that, it's, if I can save a low-income family $40 a month on their electricity bill or their energy bill, I mean, that adds up. And to somebody who's got a lower income, that's a big deal. That could be $500 a year, and also we try to build things with durable materials that, that last, not, things that are sustainable just by their nature, because they're going to last longer. And I think it makes sense to, let's face it, we have limited resources here on this planet. And so it makes sense to get the biggest bang out of everything we can. So for that reason, I think energy efficiency and sustainability are just a natural fit for affordable housing.
You mentioned sustainability. Question I have for you, does Habitat have a program where they help the homeowners learn how to take care of their own place? That part of your teaching and training?
We do, and it's suffered a little bit during the pandemic, just like public schools, everything suffered. And and I'm kind of stepped back from it now, but we did have regular home ownership classes, and then I did them online via Zoom, but it's just not quite the same. You can't pass things around the room, and you don't have that personal interaction. But yeah, we have always had like home ownership. We call it home ownership 101, actually. And and that's what it is. It's just an introduction to what it's all about being a homeowner. You can't call the landlord when something goes wrong. You got to figure it out yourself.
That's a great program, and I think maybe you guys should open it to the public.
Yeah, actually, we've talked about that.
Great. So you're noted for your skills in drafting, design, and planning, but your true strengths are said to be in your interactions with people. I'm a witness to that. You and I have become great friends over the years. Can you share a story about how your engagement with Habitat homeowners, coworkers, or volunteers has made a positive difference in your lives and people at work?
Yeah, I can share a story that it touched my heart, and I think it had a big impact on this family too. This was a Habitat family. I don't remember, they're Eastern European, they're Ukrainian or Moldovan or Romanian, so from Eastern Europe. And her name is Zina. I remember that very well. And we rehabbed a house in East Tacoma and sold it to them. And it was kind of a hairball project. It was tough, and there was a lot of things to overcome, but they participated in the construction as all Habitat homeowners do, and they were a big part of it. And it was, I think pretty good sized, typical Eastern European family. I think they had like 5 kids, and it was and so they moved into their house, and I drove by there every now and then. It was kind of on my way to other projects, and I'd see, they planted some grapes. Oh, they're doing some more landscaping. Oh, the place looks great. Oh, they built an arbor, They really did take great care of the house and really landscaped it very nicely. And then it was about, just probably 4 or 5 years ago, I ran into Zena at the grocery store, and she works there. She works at Safeway now. So, and at first I didn't recognize her, but she recognized me, and she was just like, "Oh, we love our house. The house is like a member of our family. We really, put down roots here, and we're going to live here. This is our forever home." And she went on to talk. Her oldest son is now in college, first family member to go to post-secondary education, and it's just, they're an Eastern European immigrant family, and this was their start in America. And there's a lot of stories like that, but it was just kind of this random, I don't often see people 10 years later, so this kind of random run-in the grocery store was meaningful for me.
That's great. I mean, in our business, I know at the commission, we finance housing. We sometimes are on the front end, but never see the back end. It's really good to see the projects and then see them years later. So that's a great testament to you that people recognize you and what you bless them with. Speaking of housing, you've done 190 new homes and the 20 rehab, which is something I didn't know Habitat has done in the past. Do you foresee a lot more of that happening in the future in some areas?
Actually, rehabs are going to become a big part of the picture for Habitat in Tacoma. I'm not sure. I think you may be aware of this, maybe not. That we're currently working on purchasing single-family homes that the Pierce County Housing Authority is selling off. They've had they've got, I think, about 125 or 30 homes, single family homes. And so we did a survey, and there's about 75 or 80 that looked like they'd be a good fit for us. And I'm not directly involved in this. I wasn't kind of in the initial beginning stages. I've stepped back from things, but I think they're going to close on the first two very soon. And there's 10 more down the pipeline, and we're looking at a total of 75 or 80 over 5 years. So I think that'll be a big part of our program and I think that'll probably establish rehab as sort of a separate branch that continues on. You know, this will be the foundation for sort of a new wing of our construction operations.
That's great. Taking these older homes and rehabbing them, making them more efficient, bringing them up to date would be great, not just for the people and the families, but also for the ecosystem we live in of having quality housing that's energy efficient.
Well, and the thing is too, those Pierce County Housing Authority homes they are affordable housing. I mean, they're rentals that the Pierce County Housing Authority rents to low-income families. And they've since realized that it's more cost-effective for them to do multifamily housing than single-family housing, but it would be a shame for these single-family homes just to go on the market and be sold off and no longer be affordable. So by Habitat purchasing them, they will be kept affordable in perpetuity, because we'll sell them via a land trust. We'll and they'll have to be resold to an income qualified buyer. So these homes from Pierce County Housing Authority will always be affordable homes.
That's great. That's a good word. What key principles do you think are crucial for making lasting changes in housing and communities? And how can they guide the next generation of housing professionals? It's kind of a question I think talking about building community and how we get people like you to be passionate about doing that. So what are some of the principles you think that are important to create a lasting change?
Well, it's tricky because oftentimes, I mean, I think the biggest challenge that affordable housing is going to face, and you know, the coming generation, is going to be keeping it affordable. And I think that's the thing that we're going to have to focus on. And that's going to be the hardest thing I mean, you know, it's even my daughter's trying to buy a house, and with the interest rates, I mean, they're looking for another house. They own a house, but you know, it's with the interest rates the way they are, and the market being what it's difficult for middle-class families to afford housing, and much less people on the lower end of the scale. So I think that is going to probably be the biggest challenge for affordable housing in the future. I think the land trust model that we've taken on, that we've adopted, is going to have a big impact, but yeah, it's still challenging. You know, land is getting more expensive. Building materials are getting more expensive. At least from my perspective, being in construction and real estate development, that's what I see as being the biggest challenge.
I see the same challenges. We're facing the same challenges in our home ownership program too, is finding enough inventory. That's affordable inventory. It's not that much being built. So looking back at your career, what moments or achievements have brought you the most satisfaction and reaffirmed your commitment to affordable housing?
That's a tough question. So there's another project that we did, the Woods at Golden Gibbon, it's 30 units of affordable housing. I won't say the biggest project that we've done in our history, but there was one family in that development that so it's kind of an interesting story. We, you know, typically at that time anyway, our homes were basically sort of pre-sold. So we would build a home with the family, and this is lot 9, that's the Johnson home. Lot 10, that's the Smith home, you know. And there was one home that in the development there that there was a family destined, it was a 3-bedroom house. There was a family that it was going to be their home. And about halfway through, I forget what happened. They dropped out of the program, or they either they were over income, they were under income. You know, that's oftentimes a problem for low income families. Things change fast, or someone lost a job. I forget exactly what it was. And they were out of the program. So we filled in with somebody else, and wouldn't you know it, after about a month and a half, they became they had to drop out of the program too. So now we had this 3-bedroom house that was almost finished. What we're going to do, 2 families have been unable to, meet the requirements, the qualifications to get the house, to buy the house. And along comes this single mom with 2 kids whose rental home had burned down about 6 months ago, and she'd been couch surfing for 6 months, staying with friends. She met the income qualifications. She was the perfect fit for the house, and in fact, she's the one that now lives in that house. And it's one of those, I always say everything happens for a reason, and I think what we do here is really just part of the bigger picture, and so yeah, it's stuff like that when you feel like, I'm doing the right thing here.
That passion. That's why I love you for Gomer. What would you see different in the future for Habitat? What do you foresee? What do you see the future of Habitat? What changes do you like to see coming down the pipe?
I think that the focus for Habitat has been home ownership. I mean, that's been the traditional focus from the beginning. And I don't see that changing, but I think, or maybe I do, I think it needs to get broader. And I think we need to start thinking of this as shelter security, not home. I mean, home ownership is shelter security, but it's basically what people need is a safe place, secure place to call home. And it's great if they can own it and create wealth and pass that on to their their children and all of that. But really what they need is the security of the being able to stay in one place with a roof over their head and so I think that maybe in time that will become more of an emphasis. I'm not necessarily saying housing the homeless, but maybe helping people to avoid homelessness.
It's a complete mission, A to Z.
Yeah.
Getting them when they're stable into a job, and then creating that dream of home ownership. And then, like you say, the key is that Habitat has a pipeline, so they can look at different places in the community they can target and work their way up the chain. And people like you are those who help them get there. So that is great. Well, if we get to closing, I have another question for you. What do you think most people want to know from you about working housing? What's most the people you think should know about you from the housing? What should they walk away from with today?
I'm not sure. Wait a second. I'm not sure I understand the question. Yep.
As we close, we wanted to give you 1 minute to say what you would most like the audience, people working in affordable housing, so people like myself, to know. What should we know in our industry as far as helping people who are looking for affordable housing? And what should they walk away with from today in this conversation?
Oh, boy. Well, I don't know. I think everybody has, I think at times there's a tendency that people can become statistics or numbers and there's a story behind every one of those, and they're real people with with lives and experience, and I think it's really important to value that in each person and try to understand where they're coming from, why why do they have this worldview? What is it that, you know, makes them think about things this way? How do they, and that's can often be challenging when you have a community of low income people that come from multiple cultures and different backgrounds, and you know, it's oftentimes it can be kind of it can get a little messy sometimes, but I think that the important thing is to remember that people are people, and you know, everybody deserves a decent place to live.
That's an excellent way of closing this down, Gomer. That's excellent. I want to thank you, our friend of housing, and my personal friend, Gomer, for all you've done. I know you're slowing down because you're looking into your career, but you've done an awful lot. We hope to see you around for many more years to come, at least in a mentorship role, if not doing the actual hands-on work. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. Hoping you're taking time away from your day to learn some wisdom and inspiration from our friend here, Gomer Roseman. We invite you to watch our other videos on our Housing Washington website. They're up there now for you to watch. They're educational, and you get to hear people like Gomer talk about their journey to affordable housing. Thank you all again, and be well.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Gomer.
Nice to see you again, man.
Looking forward to seeing you again. Hopefully
Okay.
another open.